Hello everyone and welcome to day number 3 here at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. We started with 76 players from around the world, and after 2 days of a very intense open bracket, we are down to just 24. This round of 24 group stage will feature 4 separate groups, 2 of which will be played out today, and at the end of the day, 6 more players will be eliminated. There's a lot of great Starcraft 2 action ahead of us, but the road leading up to this group stage was just as difficult, as the world's very best fought to show the greatest Starcraft 2 games. Hello and welcome everybody. We are live from the ESL Arena here in Katowice, Poland, and the open bracket will be taking place here over the course of the next 2 days. 64 players are here duking it out, but only 12 will be moving on to the group stage.
Here he comes in, mass anti-armor missiles. Almost all the carriers go down.
This is definitely an opportunity to clear out this. Oh my God. GG is called, and Maru.
Cyril has broken in one more time, and a very clean ZVZ series pick.
Absolutely, and nothing less than we would expect. GG.
We see the stim coming forward. Beautiful play on the tanks. And these Marines do not have the backup fire. Lockdown. A beautiful move from Ryung. But look at all the SCVs dying to these Marines are tasteless. That's a ton of damage from Ryung. That's it. GG. Wow. Ryung takes game number 2.
This has been a masterclass of Zerg vs. Zerg from True.
There you go, GG True.
Hello and welcome everybody to day 2 of the open bracket here at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. On day 1 we saw some amazing players advance, notably in Cyril and Solar, and now in day 2 we'll find out which players will go on to join them.
Special just has to tap out. GG.
Wow, what a good read by Zest.
Okay, we see the big attack coming in here now, and Special engulfing the army of Bunny. So much damage from every angle.
Finally, after weathering the storm, hanging on for so long, he blasts those cyclones down.
GG. Fantastic showing there by Special.
These disruptors are trapped. Harster plus all of his stalkers, and that's going to be it. A full surround of Zealots on the disruptors of Harster, and Trap is going to be your Protoss.
Low! Not go down. Shield battery's out of energy here. The Void Ray does get taken out. Oh!
Second
Nave gets the second Void Ray.
This fight would go disastrous for one of the 2 players. Neep's army was a lot stronger. Patience's engagement was better, but I don't think it matters in the end. Neep has too much.
We just wrapped up day 2 of the open bracket, and now we have 24 players total that will be competing at the group stage here at the Intel Extreme Masters.
The Intel Extreme Masters World Championship carries something special. And while it's always a progressive look forwards to the future of StarCraft 2, this tournament truly honors the legacy of StarCraft, the stories, the hardships, and the journeys all of these phenomenal players have to make. In the upcoming 4 days, we'll have 24 players competing for their share of $400,000 and learn about their trials along the way. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to begin day number 3 of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship.
Welcome to the Hacks Pre-Show.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the analysis desk for day number 3. Indeed, we did start with 76 players, now we're down to 24, and we have the very best of those 24 going to be competing in group stages throughout the next 2 days. Welcome everybody to the analysis desk. My name's Kyle Laris, I'll be your host throughout all of this, and we do have joining us to start things off Rotterdam and Artosis. Gentlemen, day number 1 and 2 with our open brackets were phenomenal, but now we get to witness 24 electrifying players make their way to the stage here.
Yeah, you thought the games were good in the first 2 days of Katowice. This is where it really heats up. The amount of good matches that we have is like overwhelming. Like going through and trying to pick what's going to be on the main stage is the most painful but most awesome experience you can have.
A lot of the matchups I think we have today in the group stage already could very well be our finals. I mean, could be the finals of any tournament. Innovation versus Dark. That is one of those matches where I think everyone just gets so freaking excited about. Even if you play Protoss, James, those are the matches that you really live for as a Starcraft fan. I love the first 2 days though. The open bracket was lots of fun. And the level of play, and you know, we don't always say this, it was really good for the beginning of the tournament. Normally there's like 1 or 2 games that stood out. I think there are 5, 6, 7, 8 games that you would really tell every Starcraft fan you should have been watching.
Yeah, definitely, and we're going to have a lot more of that to come. And we can start talking about how the groups are going to be shaping up, of course, as we have 24 players. And an important thing to note is that 19 of these 24 players are Premier Tournament champions. It's a ridiculous lineup. Let's take a look at Group A to get things going as we continue things here. So, gentlemen, looking at Group A, what a lineup of players to start off the day.
Dude, it's out of control, actually. Like, Group A for me is one of the 2 groups that's really just... look at it. Look at it. Maru and TY right now. TY, the defending champion of Katowice. Maru, maybe the best Terran player in the world right now. He's in top 8 over in GSL. And, I mean, you guys saw his games to make it to this group stage. It was madness.
Yeah, of course, Special playing incredibly well lately, just making non-stop top 4 runs at some of those WCS events. But even at the Intel Extreme Masters, Pyeongchang also making it to the top 4. Then you've got ShoWTimE, who tweeted out right before the drawing happened, please give me an easy group. Afterwards, he just wrote, lol. You know, that didn't really work out. It's pretty much the stuff it's going to be. Not a single Zerg in this group. And that obviously makes things interesting. Because just by being very good in TVT, something that I think Gumio has absolutely been in the past, you can actually make your way out of this group, but it's going to be tough for everybody.
I mean, looking at someone like TY, our current Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, surely he was the most successful player of 2017. He banked the most money during that year. He got himself that first place. He was able to take first place WESG. I think he also took second place at GSL versus the World. So he was the most successful player, surely.
I think in a lot of ways you can measure it that way. And in fact, like, he almost had the best year we've ever seen. He made a bunch of top 8s in like GSL. Went up 2-0 and then got swept. So TY is kind of a funny player in that regard. Like, when he's on, he looks like the best player in the world.
Yep.
And is he on right now for this tournament? I think he takes it seriously. He wants to defend his title.
That's right.
And it's very realistic. Like, in my opinion, best TVT player in the world. And in a group like this, well, I mean, everyone in this group is good TVT, though, Rowdy, right? Like,
no, obviously. I mean, it's fun to see our defending champion in action, because last year, Katowice, I mean, we talk a lot about how this year is incredibly stacked. Last year was also very stacked, especially when we entered this phase in the tournament. I think the open bracket was even harder this year than it was last year, but when it came to the top 24, last year was just as tough. So the fact that he won back then, I mean, there's obviously a good chance that he goes very far again, but going back to back, I don't know, James. Let's take it one group at a time.
It's ambitious. Let's see if he can defend his title. Let's go on to Group B, of course, as we have plenty more players to run down. So, Euthermal, Dark, Innovation, Hurricane, Solar, and True. Yet another stacked group. But Euthermal, when it goes up against the Koreans, he's got his work cut out for him.
he does. This is an uphill journey for Euthermal. I mean, I'd be interested to see what you think, Roddy, being a fellow Dutch guy. And
you know what I think, Tulsas. You know what I think.
Dude, Dark and Innovation are in this group. These are generally the players we call the best Terran and the best Zerg in the world.
I'm not looking too much at Dark and Innovation. You know, if I want to really let my Dutch bias shine over here, then I'm not really counting on the fact that Euthermal can beat either Dark or Innovation. Is it possible? I mean, in a best of 3, maybe you can squeeze out something very weird in TVT. I mean, at the end of the day, Dark and Inno are humans too as well, even though we sometimes doubt it with Inno. But let's just say that they too can have an off day. They too not necessarily always have to play their best StarCraft. But if I look at the other 3 names, I look at Hurricane, a very scary Protoss, of course. I mean, he's stopped Neep in multiple tournaments, but that's a different matchup. Right. Solar is very strong, and True is obviously True in his weird, unique way. Yes. But I think those are 3 beatable opponents for uThermal, but he has to play his A++ game. Like, he cannot show up being average, because that's not going to be good enough.
And of course, uThermal came here via defeating Serral in the final match of the European qualifier, 3-2. Admittedly, some kind of cheeses in there and a little bit of shenanigans, but overall was victorious. So we'll be keeping our eye on him in a very, very stacked group. Let's check in with Group C now. I almost said number C. I don't know why, but there you go. It's coming up. So Impact, Rogue, Nurtio, Serral, Zest, and Neeb. For me, gentlemen, there's so many dynamics going on in this group. What a group.
This is the hardest group to predict, I think. Like, yeah, you can look at it and say big names like Rogue, WCS Global Champion. Yeah, that's cool. Serral and Neeb, you know, these guys are like the dominators of the non-Korean scene. Zest, for many years, the best Protoss, kind of getting back on top. But you can't count out these other guys. Nurtio has always been one of the best non-Korean players. Impact is maybe the most underrated Zerg in Korea. He's really strong as well. Yeah. And his A game is as good as these other players' A game. So I don't even know what to do with this group.
Yeah, this is a wildcard group as well, because Rogue, we just don't know how good he is at the moment. What did we truly see of Rogue in 2018? Simply not enough. 2017, if this tournament was 4 months ago, obviously we're all predicting him to make it out of the group, because he was hot, like as hot as a player can be. Right now, it's a lot tougher to predict, and I mean, this is also very different, of course. He had to fly to the other side of the world. It's been a while since we've seen him go up against players of this level. I am a tiny bit worried for Neeb. I am always a believer in Neeb, and the Neeb that we've seen in the past has absolutely shown that he can duke it out with these guys, perhaps even be a favorite to make it out. But Neeb didn't really impress me in the open bracket. He looked good, but he didn't look as clean and untouchable as he's done in the past. For Nurtio, this is going to be one hell of a group, of course, but at the same time, we cannot count him out as fun. Serral, I actually do expect him to make it out of this group, no matter how tough it is. I just believe that Serral can, just like last year, make it out of the group stage.
3 times WCS champion in Neeb ends up in the same group as our current WCS circuit champion in Serral. Always exciting to kind of see those 2 butt heads, which we will see later on down the line. Let's check in with Group D as well. There's so many stories to talk about against all these groups, and when we get to actually talking about their matches, we'll eventually get to really elaborate on them. Look at that. Elaser, you cheeky boy. You're blocking a little symbol, but that's fine. We do have Elaser, Classic, SOS, Trap, Hero Marine, and Ryung. Another very, very stacked group, boys.
It is really stacked. And, like, for instance, those top 4 players that we see there, I feel like anyone out of those players can come out. The 2 Terran players, if they have a good day, maybe they could do something here, but it seems stacked against those Terrans, in my opinion, in this group.
Yeah, I think the 2 Terrans are the underdog here, but Hero Marine played really good in the open bracket, and of course so did Ryung. Just looked good, got the job done when there was a lot of pressure on him as well in that final series. But I think especially Classic and SOS, I think, are 2 favorites here for a lot of us. At the same time, Elaser has shown us in the past that he can absolutely defeat Korean Protosses. He just did it a couple weeks ago. He took out Zest at the Intel Extreme Masters Pyeongchang. So I think Elaser looks at this group, and I don't think he hates it, but it is obviously going to be very tough. And then there is Trap. I mean, Trap has also been getting a lot of love online. A couple of people are really starting to get on the Trap bandwagon again, thinking that he is as good as he was once upon a time. I mean, you gotta love it, James. You gotta love these groups.
Who knows? Who knows? I think one thing that really stands out for me is that, as you said, Hero Marine in there, I feel like he's my... Of the whole round of 24, my underdog, even though he was able to go through Snoot and Kellezer in that open bracket stage. But anyway, let's check in with the schedule here, as we have not only our match going on the main stage here, but also we will have our 2 laptops running simultaneously. Do remember out there, it is round robin groups, best of 3. So everyone gets to play everybody, which is always really, really exciting and brilliant to kind of find out truly who's really at the top of these groups, right?
Yeah, it's really cool because we get to watch all these games at once. I know there's going to be some additional streams going on, so whatever player you want to see, you know, you can kind of check out what's going on with that.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. In fact, I think you guys do have games so far. I don't need updates, but you... Wait, what?
Maru has already 2-0'd Gumiho. That's how serious he is.
Wasn't that like 40 minutes ago it started?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Kids making barracks on the other side of the map, James.
Well, quick start. How about you, Roddy? What did you
Deer 2-0 special already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What? Anyway, before we even get some results in, it's time to begin Group A as we start things here at the Intel Extreme Masters.
Welcome to the Hacks Pre-Show.
Group A is a really deadly group, and it's hard to say exactly who's going to win it. I think the most interesting player to watch in Group A is going to be Special. He is really on fire lately, hitting top 4 in every tournament that he's played in.
I think the two strongest Terrans by far are going to be Maro and TY. With so many Terran versus Terrans in this group, and these guys having very different play styles, I'm curious to see who's going to come out on top in that mirror matchup. I feel like this is going to be a group that's going to come down a lot to who has the best Terran versus Terran. The Protosses in the group are good, but I think when you compare them to the results a lot of these Protoss players have just shown, there's a big difference, and I think a TVT Pro is what's going to come out on top.
That's right. The most the most electrifying tournament of the calendar year is about to begin, or even has when we look at the results that have already come in. But we're going to start things off with game number 1 of Group A, and it will be ShoWTimE going up against TY. Gentlemen, ShoWTimE versus TY. Is it Christmas already? I know it's only February, March, but oh my God, actually it's March the 1st. But we get such good fixtures all ready to start the day off.
Well, this could be a dynamite match, and Roddy was actually talking about this earlier before we started. Like, if ShoWTimE shows up today, he makes this group so interesting, because we saw previously from him, especially that year at BlizzCon where he played so well and beat Bjorn, that his PvT, when he's playing well, can beat anybody. So if he can bring that here against TY, it's a dynamite match, and it will change the outcome of this group dramatically.
It is funny though, it really seems that the Korean Protosses have it kind of figured out and that they're all excellent in this matchup and that they really feel like Protoss has a little bit of an advantage over Terran, while multiple of the Protosses in the foreign scene are looking at each other. It's like, so how exactly do we get in this advantage? Like, when I look at the Koreans, it all looks so easy, and when we play, this feels like these Terran armies are overwhelming. And ShoWTimE also mentioned that this group would have been great for someone that actually had really good PvT, and he said, I'm not sure if my PvT is at the level where it should be right now. TY as well. TY is always a Terran that plays a tiny bit different than everybody else, has his own touch to the matchup, has his own style. I think it's going to be a really tough series for ShoWTimE.
ShoWTimE is a player that, you know, he's a very methodical player, very defensively minded player, but he's been mixing it up, you know, in the past year or so, throwing in some aggressive builds. 2017 wasn't fantastic for him. We all kind of know that. But 2018, the start, he was the first player to qualify through in the European qualifier, which was very stacked itself. So he seems back.
And he had a great tournament performance at Leipzig, of course. He made it all the way to the final. Obviously a big deal if you're a German player and you play a WCS circuit event in Germany. He made it to the final. He took out Neeb in the semi-finals, and he looked really good. Even in the final, he put up quite a good fight against Zero, and that's more than most Protoss players can say. So no, ShoWTimE absolutely looks like he's back on track, but this is the reality test, right? Like, you're going up against a couple of the best Terrans in the world. Let's see how good that matchup is.
And TY, of course, you can't doubt him really. Defending his title here, and that's the most important thing that we have to mention here. He was the champion last year here after a phenomenal run through a ton of extremely good players. It was close in the final against Stats, but he was able to prevail, and it just, if he gets the opportunity to become a back-to-back champion, that's an amazing run.
Yeah, well, if he wins this, we got to start looking at him in even like a higher regard, which is kind of hard to imagine. We already consider him, you know, he's one of the 4 horsemen of Terran. This guy has won almost the most money in the world. Of course, this would put him over the top by far. He's definitely one of the favorites, though. And I look at this group, and unless ShoWTimE specifically can really bring it right now in this first match, I just see him going right out of the group and in the top 12.
All right, well, thank you very much, guys. It's time as we begin match number 1. ShoWTimE goes up against TY.
That's right. G'day guys, Maynard and Todd here, and we are starting off the round of 24. Some results already creeping in, and hopefully this one not as one-sided. TY, the reigning champion of the Intel Extreme Masters, going up against Armor Team's ShoWTimE. Thoughts on this series, Todd?
Oh, it's going to be great. TY, that grand finals last year, that was against another Protoss in stats. He adjusted from game to game. It was the longest series, not quite the best of 3 that we're going to have here, but it's always nice to see this guy in action and coming with conclusions just from small things that he sees in games and making the proper adjustments to try and get the victory. Now there's not going to be that much time for that, and it's all the same for ShoWTimE all alike, who's going to have to pick the right build orders and most of all execute them very, very well, because one single mistake or two and he's going to be in big trouble against TY.
And we are inside map number 1 here on Blackpink. In the top right from Germany, an Armor Team. This is ShoWTimE. And in the bottom left, the reigning champion from South Korea. This is Splice TY.
ShoWTimE usually gets tested a lot against Zerg in particular in all of the WCS circuits tournaments that we see him in the qualifiers as well. To qualify for this very tournament, he had to face 3 Zergs, didn't get to face any Terrans, so you know, like it's almost like another world, right? Where in outside of Korea, you don't have that many Terrans that are at the highest level and necessarily competing against somebody like ShoWTimE. But in Korea, there's so many of them, and they're all so strong. So now he finds himself in a very tough group where he has to first face the defending champion himself. And it's going to be a true test, which really could set the pace for him. Imagine ShoWTimE was to win there. Like, he could go very confident into his next matches against the other Terrans. If he loses, though, might have his confidence crushed from the first match here.
Definitely. First cutting probe here being very annoying for ShoWTimE. So to go on that point there, Todd, ShoWTimE and TY actually have been a little bit shaky in this matchup on respective sides. It's just rather who is going to be more shaky when it comes down to it here in this best of 3. You know, ShoWTimE's been meeting the Terrans that he does meet are generally U-Thermal, Special, and WCS, and online as well. You know, they played a Nation Wars show match recently, in which ShoWTimE kind of got beaten down by Special pretty hard. And TY and Special are very, very similar players. They play each matchup very, very similarly. So it's pretty cool that they're in a group together. But we got this matchup first. See TY with the Marine opening here. Checking out for proxies or any kind of out-scouting unit in the early stages, looking for that probe. Some Protosses will like to hide their probe here just to make sure they can circumnavigate the Reaper Scouts so that they don't lose it and come in later.
Yeah, but ShoWTimE, you're just going to head on home here as he's getting a Stargate. Remember BlizzCon actually 2 years ago? ShoWTimE beat Beyond in the group stage just before Beyond went on to win the whole thing. So ShoWTimE against top Korean Terrans, definitely doable. Already has been able to kind of shock the world in some of these matches. But now, just heading into the whole group, it feels like there is so much pressure on his shoulders, right? Because it's ShoWTimE. You wouldn't really expect to lose him in the round of 24. And this is really well, the tournament starts really ramping up in terms of, you know, skill level. We went from 76 players to 24. Remember, by the way, like what's on the line? $150,000 for the first place finisher and a spot at BlizzCon at the Global Finals. So this is what is on the mind of all of these 24 players, and it almost feels as if any of them could win it from there.
Yeah, the first seat for the Global Finals is going to be granted here today. Well, not today, this event. So we see a Cyclone opening here from TY, and ShoWTimE, he does kind of have a couple builds against Terran. He likes to either open Stargate or like Blink Double Forge. Either way, he loves to go for fast third Nexus and try and play the mid to late game. But TY is one of the scariest Terrans to play late game against. He's so good against it. There was a bit of a weird build ShoWTimE did against Special, actually, when I was talking about that Nation Wars show match, where he went up to triple Oracle, but Special really punished him for it. He caught those on the map. I wonder if he'll do that here. We see a second Oracle in the way as the first one comes down. And I try and see what he can get done. Obviously, Oracles have changed a little bit. They're not as good against SCVs and Marines as they used to be. First Cyclone deflects it.
It's very rare for ShoWTimE. Oh my god. TY is for this. Oh, and he gets it. ShoWTimE.
Oh, that is a
big loss.
That's a massive pick off there, that first Oracle going down.
That's what these Marines were for the whole time, by the way. I think they were kind of fishing for this. And TY, as soon as he got tagged, he saw the direction in which the Oracle was heading. He's like, okay, I'll catch you with my Marines. And sure enough, he's right there for the interception. But yeah, ShoWTimE, I don't think that he does too many of those builds that are like very unique that you'll see just one time unless it's a very aggressive build. So when you say like he went for 3 oracles, it might be one of those things that he practiced a lot. Maybe he lost with it one time, but sometimes you lose with a certain build order and it's the execution that wasn't good enough, not necessarily the build order. So not surprising to see him play kind of similarly there and then obviously just try and do it better, which so far hasn't been the case because he lost the 1 oracle.
Well, once again, in true ShoWTimE fashion, he's trying to power on that 3rd Nexus and pumping up those probes. But TY, however, we saw no add-ons or no rather upgrades for his bio units down here. He's starting to get the tech labs now to transition into a mid game, but he's hitting with a huge army supply advantage, or at least an 8 here. And the Cyclones with the Viking are going to be very, very handy against this heavy Stalker and Oracle force.
And ShoWTimE might need some more warp in here. No Stasis Wall to buy him any time. He's got a pylon here to reinforce, but TY could actually attack that. He's going to take that down very, very soon. Still trying to deal with the army. ShoWTimE needs to save that Nexus or he's going to be in trouble.
There's just not a whole lot here for ShoWTimE on the ground. There's no shield battery and not that many Phoenixes or Oracles in the sky either. He's lifting up one of those Cyclones to help out with the fight. There goes that Oracle, gunning down those Marines. Few of them are still alive. Both players trading units blow for blow here. Both the Cyclones are still alive with the landed Viking as well being annoying. Looks like TY will get cleaned up.
Yeah,
he did a bit of damage there.
Good job by ShoWTimE here, actually. Some, was a Marine here?
Marine coming in.
Getting 2 probes, I think it was in the main base. Not bad at all, I guess. But good defense here by ShoWTimE, staying patient, regrouping with his air units, and then getting the defense that he needed. You said it. TY neglected the upgrades. Steam is only starting now, so actually ShoWTimE from there, all he has to do is get a lot of probes out, add on a lot of gateways, transition into, I'm guessing, what's going to be charged a lot of the time, but could also be blink first. And he's going to be in a pretty good spot, so I have to say, that was pretty impressive a hold.
I'm feeling like Charge makes a lot of sense here because he wants that anti-bio force. And he knows, when you're up against Terran, even if it's TY who does like to, get a little bit weird in his build sometimes, it is generally going to be bio. TY has been loving bio mine play like many, many Terrans have been in this matchup. We can see that that's happening right now. In fact, ShoWTimE confirms it with that Oracle that lived through that battle.
And yeah, Blink is going to start as well as +1 attack. 5 more gates already for ShoWTimE. He wants to make sure he's going to be able to keep up with the production. I mean, TY, we just talked about the grand finals that he played against Stats last year. He was very aggressive. That last game, I think he realized that Stats kept on going for Colossus to try and take the bio-heavy style, and he went for tanks and a big push that actually broke Stats in that game. So he loves to play a very aggressive brand of Terran, and I think ShoWTimE really picked up on that, and that's why he had enough units there. Yeah. If he had played against a more passive Terran, he might have just kept on a couple of these Adepts or Stalkers swapping, and then he wouldn't have had enough.
It's really interesting to me that ShoWTimE's going for damage here. He's getting Blink, and he's getting +1 attack, so no +1 armor, which means his tanky units that usually keep that bio line away from his damage output are going to be, quite squishy, actually, if TY goes for a big attack.
Oh, I thought he might have to recall here for a second. Actually, that's Twilight Council and Forge are going to be under assault.
Yeah, it looks like they might get depowered there. Yeah, it is just in range of that power field with the pylon. Widow Mine in place. Blink Micro can save that Stalker, but TY's trying to hit down here in the south, but ShoWTimE should be able to clean this up. Took a hit there on the Stalkers. No big deal. He has several shield batteries.
Yeah, I was like, why is he not blinking? I realized we're actually quite far from that. But yeah, ShoWTimE. This is what he's known for, the defense. Usually a lot of the time it's against Zerg, but this time around it's going to have to be against a Terran that loves to attack, drop all over the place, try to make something happen. So far, the defense has been there, like in terms of units lost. ShoWTimE really hasn't lost many probes. And he's traded units pretty well, I would say.
I got to say though, Todd, I'm really worried about the squishiness of ShoWTimE's army. When +1 kicks in, or +1 has kicked in, attack for the bio, when a big ball of Terran units stims into your stuff with Widowmine support, how is a heavy Stalker-based army going to do well against that?
Yeah, it's about, I guess, the force fields, Guardian shields, and I think the shield batteries there really makes it, I guess, so much better of an army, right, as it would be otherwise. But ShoWTimE might have to transition eventually here into either Colossus on High Templars or some proper AoE damage, but he's grabbing a War Prism, so he might just play super aggressive, and he starts +2 attack here, as well as +1 armor, so he keeps up with these upgrades very well.
That's right, so ShoWTimE, who's generally known for being defensive, is turning a new leaf here and going to try and see if he can put some damage on. That is a big ball of Stalkers. A good chunk of them are here in the main. Looks like about 20 down here on the high ground.
SEAL Team 6, more like SEAL Team 16 over there. That is a lot of Stalkers to be aggressive with.
Not a ton of bio here for TY, but again, even though it looks a bit funny to see that many Stalkers run away from that bio would trade all right against that. Ghost transition here for TY as he gets ready for You know, his tier 2 upgrades as well, armory going down as well. Ghosts this time of the game, when there's not too many you know, zealots out and that sort of thing, aren't going to be fantastic, but they will definitely be able to EMP and blanket down those gateway units very easily.
I mean, yeah, the best unit that you could get against Ghost is Colossus, but in this case, the transition will happen much quicker for TY. He's already got 1 Ghost in production, whereas the RoboBay hasn't finished yet for ShoWTimE. So it's good that he's going for this transition, but it's a little bit late, I guess. So there's going to be a window during which TY is going to have maybe a couple Ghosts, and when he can attack, and there is not enough Colossi yet, that could be very dangerous for ShoWTimE to have to deal with.
His Dorf is getting softened up quite a bit there by that Widow Mine. They should be able to blink to safety here in a second. Oh, didn't have the high ground, so a couple of them got left behind.
Oh, he sees the Ghosts.
Yeah, this is actually quite dangerous for ShoWTimE.
The Observer, he's staying right there inside of the scan. Widow Mine being dropped on the other side in the meantime. You really don't want to make cannons in your mineral lines, but it almost feels as if you need to here against somebody like TY.
Yeah. TY is known for his multitasking and drop play, but hold that thought, we're getting a big EMP here from TY, getting a lot of those units down and actually draining a fair bit of that shield battery. Oh my god, another good EMP here from TY. Now, there is double Colossi on the way here for ShoWTimE, but the Liberators are coming in as well to be annoying.
TY is using the position so well in making sure that not all of ShoWTimE's army is attacking right now. The first 2 Colossi are finally going to come in, but they don't have thermal lens. And they get there so late, so much damage has already been dealt. That Nexus is only half hit points now. If it dies though, ShoWTimE could engage in a better position than even he is now.
Oh, this Nexus is so low and it looks like it might survive as ShoWTimE pushes the TY back. No, he gets some space. There goes that Nexus, and ShoWTimE taking a fair bit of damage here. He should be able to clean up TY, or will he? He's lost his batteries. The Colossi trying to go back. The Marauders picking them up one at a time. And even reinforcements here from TY. The Ghost somehow also still alive.
Yeah, I think ShoWTimE lost patience here a little bit too much. Blinking forward, even though his Nexus was already dead, might just have needed to pull back, wait for thermal lens to finish. Now TY trying to finish the game off. He's gonna have to pull back here eventually, but the damage has been dealt.
Yeah.
TY is now ahead in walkers, he's got more army, and soon enough, he's gonna have ShoWTimE completely out-teched with not only Ghosts, but Vikings being added on as well.
Charge lot harassment attempt here from ShoWTimE. I see that TY is actually on about 3 bases as the main had to be lifted out here. That's not 4 bases. So ShoWTimE has a crack at it. His economy hurts, but it's not dead. And he has an opportunity to come back with a really good engagement or 2. But it certainly looks like TY is wearing the, wearing the daddy pants here in this game so far.
Yeah, ShoWTimE is doing something that's very smart because he lost one of his first 2 Colossi, so he transitions into Disruptor, basically knowing that there's going to be enough Vikings during the next attack to deal with any amount of Colossi. So he's like, you know what, I'll try and deal with this Ghost and the Bio Undergrounds with my own Disruptors. If he gets a couple great connections, like, here's the notorious phrase, look at the supply. Like, if ShoWTimE was to connect big time twice, all of a sudden he equalizes the supply. So
yeah, he's not dead yet.
I think that's really going to be the goal here for him, is to land some of these huge Disruptor connections. And he has some greatly placed observers to see the army movement from the Terran. But
Pylon as well.
The drop towards the main base could be a risk.
Well, this is quite nice. This is a very freshly muled base here. Oh, Disruptor shot's coming in. TY loses a lot of his army there on the right-hand side. He might have to pull back here after picking up that Colossi. Can ShoWTimE get it done? Big connections there with those Purification Novas.
Yeah, there's so much left over here from TY. All of the Colossi are gone.
This warp in his charge lots needs to come in. There we go. ShoWTimE does get the charge lots back, and he will be able to clean this up, but he took... Oh, man, these high gas units, the Colossi and the Disruptors getting taken out really does suck for the German Protoss. Now look at the supply, Todd.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Gateway units left over here for ShoWTimE, who's trying to replenish that Disruptor count. Still going for some upgrades, but on the other side of the map, TY is still on 4 bases. Quite comfortable. That Sensor Tower is quite great, by the way, I have to say. On his base there, like whenever his Zealots would come, you could see them come from far away, and now TY is so comfortable, he starts taking a 5th base on location.
Yeah.
That's how good he's feeling.
That's right. And even if that gets cancelled, he's still in an alright spot, so why not? Another attack here on the 3rd Nexus where most of the action's been in this game. Disruptor getting a bit forward here, takes a few of those units out, but now is on cooldown. And that is a lot of fire here. Don't forget the Ghosts are here as well. He feels like, all right, I don't need the Vikings anymore, time to fight. Purification Nova does connect quite nicely here. The Liberator not even helping out, it's just kind of sitting there. TY still winning this engagement though. Oh man, I think that's going to be it. GG. ShoWTimE is known as Die Mauer, the wall in Germany. TY brought his sledgehammer. No problem. Breaks it down, gets game one pretty easily. Huh?
I see the preparation yesterday on stream. It
was
well worth it.
I just thought about it just now. I didn't mention that, but Yeah, so GG's well played at TY. We're going to go with the guys at the desk to see what's happening around the tournament as we get ready for Game 2.
That's right, thank you very much, gentlemen. As, of course, we did have results come in before we even began Group A, it feels like. Gentlemen, so we do have Dia versus Special. Rotterdam, what was going on in that one?
So in game number 1, Special did a build that I'm actually quite a fan of. I think it's a very good build where you proxy the starport, you rally your first 4 Hellions towards that starport. However, Deer opened up with Oracles, which is not too surprising, but often Protoss sends their first Oracle across the map. Deer didn't do that. He waited for 2 Oracles, and apparently the timing of when that medevac shows up with 4 Hellions in the main, that's right when you have 2 Oracles. So Deer looked at it, he's like, oh cool, took no damage, and then just kind of won with like Stalkers and Zealots, because the Phoenix chased down the medevac. Game number 2 started off in an even more explosive way. We can go ahead and jump to my game, jump to the laptop, so I can show you guys the final moments. Now up to this point, Special just kind of ignored the Oracles, and if you ignore the Oracles, well, you lose 10 SCVs. He lost a tank to Oracles, lost a bunch of Marines, and in all honesty, he didn't kill much, so this has meant that Deer handled the arrest very well on his side of the map. And at that point, Special's like, well, I really need to make something happen. Otherwise, it's going to be the same thing as the game before. He's just going to have too much. So again, he ignores the Oracles while he's rallying some forces to the other side of the map. Also sends a Liberator into the main base. So this is kind of annoying, right? Forces Deer to split up his units, does some damage. You look at this push. Now, is this a very strong push? No, it's not. But if he could somehow get the Nexus, or at least a good trade, because these Stalkers, you know, they don't have Blink yet, the Zealots don't have Charge, then maybe there is still hope for Special, but that was a traitor mine, James. A very big traitor mine.
Oh no.
That literally blew up the medevac and all the Marines, and this made it an easy hold for Deer. And obviously at this phase in the game, 3 bases against 2, 11 workers advantage, all these Stalkers. From here on out, Deer just kind of ran away with the game.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Rotterdam. Now we're going to check in with field reporter number 2, Artosis. You have Gumiho versus Maru.
Yeah, game 1, double proxy barracks, got about 7 SCVs, went into Cloak Banshee, got about 8, 10 SCVs, didn't lose the Banshees, kind of was able to just finish Gumiho off. He was going bio, you know, he had quicker upgrades against the Gumiho mech that you always see. Now, game 2, pretty aggressive. I mean, no proxy racks, but 1 base you see here for Maru, and I'm just going to walk you through here. He does a lot of damage, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. See, he catches, he just has like that 1 extra unit, gets that first volley off. Look at that, delaying the command center. Wait till you see how much damage he ends up doing here in a minute. He has a Cloaked Banshee on the way, by the way, which is very, very important. So we're up to 3 kills. He's going to kill that. Oh my god. Look at these Reapers, they just won't die. Maru Reapers, oh my god, 5 kills. So much lost mining time, it just keeps going.
Oh my god.
10 SCVs killed. Oh, now a Cyclone's here. Uh-oh, Gumiho.
Oh, that's brutal.
That's
yeah,
it, right?
Yeah, it's pretty rough, man. And then in just a moment here, we'll see a Banshee fly in, and, well, you can see that SCV kill count just continue to go up. It's pretty bad. GG is called. Like, Maru just so good.
Quick and simple. Yeah. Very well done, very well done. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for the updates. We can head over to the commentary team once again. Game number 2, ShoWTimE against TY.
That's right, guys. Welcome back. We are in the midst of getting into Game 2 between ShoWTimE and TY, with TY having a pretty dominant Game 1, I have to say.
Yeah, we saw Special actually ignore Deer's Oracle. I'll tell you who didn't ignore the Oracles. That was TY. He caught that first one beautifully on the map, and then from there, usually it's only upwards. You're doing very well if you can do that. ShoWTimE, he's not necessarily that much a momentum-based player, but it's always better, right? If you can keep your important units alive early on and not lose them to just, you know, 1 Cyclone and a couple Marines. So that was definitely something good that he achieved. After that, ShoWTimE did have a good defense, but TY, from the moment he starts attacking and he's on 2-3 bases and he has a lot of units, he's very hard to actually hold on. And I think the best move that he did was just to go for Ghosts and hit a pre-Colossus timing, which I think he read very well.
Yeah, and it was kind of hard to see. Like, it looked like ShoWTimE was maybe on the cusp of being able to hold it. Like, it was so close. But the TY timing was so crisp, so fine, and so divine, and he got it done. And let's see if he can close it out, or if this guy could fight back. In the bottom right, from Germany and Armor Team, this is ShoWTimE. And in the top left, from South Korea, currently on match point, this is TY.
Currently sitting in what I believe is the 3rd place overall rankings for most earnings in Starcraft 2. Just
The
behind
SOS.
SOS and MC. And if he was to win this tournament, I think whoever is second, I think TY might be the new highest earning player of all time, which I'm sure he wouldn't mind. He had a pretty great year last year.
Yeah, I remember last year after Katowice, with WESG, he actually won 300 grand in 3 months, like in the first 3 months of 2017.
Not bad for playing video games.
And not bloody bad. So we have a little bit of harassment here, of course. The first probe of every Protoss is going to be the biggest jerk. Nearly getting the damage done on that SCV, but of course TY, too good to get his first SCV taken out by a scouting worker. Deflects this probe here.
Do we see ShoWTimE play a similar style with against Stargate and Oracles here after, you know, he went bad again against Special recently, as you said, he went bad in that game 1 against TY. Does he still commit to this style, or does he try and play differently perhaps?
I actually wouldn't mind. I like the Stargate option because TY is a guy that's historically been like the Liberator guy. He's so good at the late game with the, you know, getting advanced ballistics and a heavy Liberator count and making things really rough for a Protoss ground army. So I like the idea to go for Stargate, but I actually wouldn't mind ShoWTimE going for something else that he likes to show a fair bit, which is the Blink and you know, a much faster double forge. As we saw, these upgrades were sort of not really married up there, and he went for something a lot different than we found Tasteless's car.
The car heist is still happening.
Yeah, that's
at this
right.
store. What is this store?
It's a really late response time on the authorities at the LNT.
Yeah, it says LNT on it.
Let's not talk about it. Is that what that stands for? Because that's kind of where I am right now, Todd. we have got a Stargate opening here from ShoWTimE, and he's going to recall that probe. I think the math was done in this, and it's actually not worth. I don't actually remember though. I cannot confirm.
If ShoWTimE does it, it's worth it. All right.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough.
TY with a quick third command center is kind of like the flavor of this map. Like a lot of players do this because it's much easier to get away with it on this map than on many others. You can defend against a lot of things very effectively. Well, does ShoWTimE even have an idea that this could be happening? I guess scouting with the Shade would be a good thing to do.
The Shade's generally going to go up the ramp to see the tech, right? Like he sees the reacted factory. Now, generally, especially if this was Gumiho, I would say that we're going to be seeing a mech game here, because Gumiho loves on this map to take that back base, that pocket third, and get those mech units up with that double gas income. TY opening with a couple Hellions and Cyclones. This doesn't always mean mech. It could just mean some pressure, as we've definitely seen some Hellions sneak into a Protoss probe line or two and get a lot of damage done. We'll see if that happens here. ShoWTimE seems to have plenty, though, with the Oracle and a couple of Depths not out of position.
We saw that.
Yeah.
They came face to face, and the Hellions decided to turn around to leave another day.
That's right. If in doubt, pull out. We got a third base here for ShoWTimE on the way, of course. The couple of Depths shepherding that probe to make sure it stays alive, and so ShoWTimE is starting to make Marines, making extra barracks. So he is just making the Cyclone and the Hellions for you know, to make ShoWTimE stick around at home, basically, with the Oracle and with the Adepts.
It's neon violet square, right? Like ShoWTimE, even without seeing that third CC, he knows pretty much what's happening on the other side of the map. So he knows he has to take his third pretty quickly as well. Looking to try and do some harassment here with his Oracle, which is very risky. Obviously, you know, there's always going to be either Cyclones or Widow Mines on the other side of the map. But yeah, TY looks pretty Oracle-proof. He's definitely not going to ignore them like Special did.
He's not going to ignore them. Yeah, we're going into first-person player cam here. Oh, it's back, baby. It's back, baby. So ShoWTimE saw the edge of that Cyclone there, and he's just taking it easy. He doesn't want to overextend that Oracle. One Cyclone is enough to deflect the Oracle. You can find openings to do damage, though. ShoWTimE just goes for a tag on the tech of TY, sees what structures he has. And yeah, we can just see his first-person cam. He's got everything on lockdown right now. He's deflecting the Hellions. And he's not losing the Oracle this game.
Easy fast.
He sure is.
That was so fast. I love that first-person thing.
Well, Oracle's got an SCV on the outskirts here he can shave off. Decides to go a little deeper, have a look at that third base, and he does find it. Now, this one's hard to defend, Todd.
That's where there's no defense, I think, currently.
Yeah, that's right.
He found a weak spot right now of the defense of TY. Doesn't want to overextend his stay, though. He knows that units could get there very quickly and take out that Oracle, so you want to keep that alive for the later tags on the Terran army to make sure you keep really a good eye on where it's at. Because again, the TY on 3 bases with, let's say from 4 medivacs out, that's really when it kicks into stride and starts dropping all over the place, doing multi-pronged attack, which are so hard to defend.
We're actually seeing the same build from game 1 here from ShoWTimE, opting to go for Blink after the Stargate opening with +1 attack. Not something I've seen him do in PvTs just yet when I was having a look at his earlier games, but so this is something that I feel like is either, you know, maybe he's switching up his PvT a little bit, or it's something specifically for TY.
I think if you go charge, you should go armor a lot of the time, but if you go for Blink usually and fighting or higher damage units, going for attack is pretty good. Armor is so 2017, Maynard.
It is. 2018 is where it's at, mate. Brand new meta, brand new year, brand new season of IEM. And I love that ShoWTimE, he did this in the last game as well, just spotter pylons everywhere, looking for liberators, medevacs, anything like that, able to react quickly. He knows TY loves to hit in one place while striking in another. Some SCVs coming out here. I think it might be because of the wall. Yeah. There's the AI pathing here. Happens a little bit funny when that wall up is then.
Finding some damage here with the Oracles, which have done a very good job of keeping alive here so far. Great tag here on a lot of the Terran army. Usually Terran here, they will not attack too much into the natural. They're always going to focus on attacking the third base and the main base at the same time, just because they are so far away from one another. So to try and force some missplit is usually the goal here.
And there's that spotter pylon showing its power. He sees that medevac, and TY is just like, well, now I have to dump all my Marines out of my medevac payload and deal with it because he knows I'm coming. And doesn't want to lose this to Stalkers.
He's so smart, by the way. He killed that one pylon. He's like, oh, there's probably more down there, because when you make one, it's never just one in the middle of the map. So he goes down, finds another one. Now, he finally gets one of the Oracles.
ShoWTimE making a couple mistakes here, and there's one guy you don't want to make any mistakes against. It's TY. He certainly rolled away with it in the last game. Already going for advanced ballistics, Todd. Must have missed that fusion cord going down. And this is, like I said, Mr. Liberator himself, if you please. And he's going to try and get a good number of them out here.
Here's the thing. TY took a very quick third base here, so his army is actually going to go out of control in terms of army size. If he then does a huge siege with a lot of Liberators and advanced ballistics on the third base of ShoWTimE, and ShoWTimE doesn't slow it down or do any damage before that, it's going to be very hard for TY to make anything.
ShoWTimE's identified what he's up against. He's going for Fleet Beacon here to start, possibly going up in Tempests to deal with the Liberators.
That's ShoWTimE for you. Every transition is usually on time. But in this case, actually, like TY going for advanced ballistics so quickly, he delayed a lot of stuff. Combat Shield is only now starting.
Yeah, I feel like that's a mistake.
And like the armor is only now on the way as well. So in terms of 2-2, it's going to be very, very late. Like we have ShoWTimE with the +2 attack already on the way, and Thermal Lens now about halfway through done. I wonder if he grabs the mothership. Or is it just Tempest? Usually you don't really get a mothership in this case against Terran, but
it's a little bit too easy for Terran to just scan, right? Like it's
yeah, I'll target it.
Or target it down, that's right. Oh, we have the Oracle here from ShoWTimE, the one that still survives. Of course, lost its brother-in-arms. Rolling around, seeing what it can see. Maybe a tag on the army would be nice here, but we see that TY is pumping out tons of Liberators. He's getting a Raven as well, and we've seen the power of the Raven in TVP here with, of course, I keep thinking about Mari versus Stats Game 3 from the bracket stages.
This is the perfect kind of map, by the way, for ShoWTimE to try and play against the Terran on, if he's going to defend and take more bases. Like, what easier map is there, really? Like, now he's going up to 4 bases. Tempest production in full swing. Wouldn't be surprised if he tried to go into Storm here real soon as well.
Ooh. Nice little drop here from ShoWTimE. Some charge loss of the natural, and TY's army out of position. It's down here on the low ground. He has to bring everything back. Not only is this going to clean up oh, that's actually a really big pick off. I was going to say, this is good for ShoWTimE right until that moment right there. It slows down TY's push, though, so it gives ShoWTimE a little bit more time to get those splash damage units out and those Tempests out.
It seems like TY really wants to be high on SCVs, by the way, because upon losing those SCVs, he could have just said, okay, I'll just replace them with army and you're going to regret ever killing these guys. But no, he restarts SCV production and he's going to go up to over 80 SCVs. So he really wants to build a bank and have a crazy income heading into the later stages of the game.
This is TY, man. This is why I question sort of the ShoWTimE, the way he likes to play every matchup is to just sit back a little bit, defend, and take a huge advantage by having incredible defense. But against TY, who likes to go up to 80 or 90 SCVs and play that late game really comfortably, it's questionable. Big tag here.
Like a true Brood War player.
That's right. That's why he's one of our Toasters' favorites, and honestly why he's one of my
Nobody
favorites.
puts TY in a corner.
No one puts Baby in a corner. Yeah, that's right.
Storm now on the way. Ghost Academy, did he just finish? I saw one in production tab. Yeah, okay, so he starts 3 Ghosts. Oh, I'm so happy when we see this kind of games, just because they are so rare, right? Both Terran and Protoss kind of accepting that they're going to max out and then clash with full armies. Actually, they're about to fight right now. What is going on?
Yeah,
TY posturing forward like he actually meant it.
Yeah, this is, that would be an overextension here from TY without those Liberators. He has to pull back. That is a scary Protoss army here. Even Disruptors being thrown in for good measure against the bio on the ground. But TY has 5 starports, Todd, and they are going to be making many, many Viking and many Liberator. In fact, the Liberator count's probably at a good spot right now. He's getting the air upgrades. He has 1 Raven. Ooh. Nova connects with 1 Marine there before detonating on the GC cluster of that bio ball.
If you thought that Colossus and High Templars were hard to deal with, wait until you see them synergizing properly with Disruptors.
And when everything's glowing purple, pull back. Doesn't want to fight when everything's being de-armored there. That's a massive drop from TY, by the way. A lot of army supply.
Ooh, it might get spotted. I see something on the right side by oh my god.
Ooh.
Oh, no, he sees it.
Oh, if it's ShoWTimE's Templar were here to feedback, those are full energy medevacs, Todd.
TY just scanned the army of ShoWTimE to make sure he was all there. He recalls now that the scan has expired. Surprise! Woo!
Well, TY can drop here on the low ground and maybe do damage to this Nexus, but it's not too far of a walk here for ShoWTimE to come on down. Oh man, I just wish for ShoWTimE's sake that those High Templar were in range of those medevacs for juicy feedbacks. TY doesn't lose too much here, although he is down a fair bit in army supply. ShoWTimE's army is extremely scary.
And actually, Corvid Reactor is now on the way, as well as 3 more Ravens, plus 2 ship weapons, and 3-3 for the bio. TY is just doing, he's getting everything that he needs to, and it's going to be a Raven-heavy game here.
Yeah, well, air-heavy army, actually. He's going to have a very heavy army supply in the sky. Not quite full Sky Terran, but still not far off. And with 3-3, the Spy is going to be quite nice. Obviously, ShoWTimE, he hasn't gotten +3 armor, which is, you know, maybe something he can get. He does have a bit of a bank, but speaking of banks, TY is not too impressive at the moment, but TY is very, very good at spending his money.
I guess it's going to be a dance between the Ravens going up against the High Templars, but the Ghosts trying to counter that. Everything's trying to counter everything, basically, in this game. You got the anti-air trying to counter the Tempest and Colossus. The Colossus trying to counter the Ghost. It's basically rock, paper, scissors, Ghost, Tempest, Colossus, High Templar.
Yeah, that's right.
And not one of them can beat all the other ones. They all need to kind of make alliances.
Except somehow in Starcraft, sometimes scissors just cuts through the rock. But we have a little Adept and Charge Lock force here that's been shaved off easily by TY's army. When I see TY making a bunch of turrets and a bunch of CCs and all these Liberator rings everywhere, I think, all right, this is going to go into the hyper late game here. This Liberator looking for an opening, but the Phoenix all over that like a rash. Gets rid of that Liberator without finding any damage. And ShoWTimE pressing the issue here, getting with the Sense Tower, and with the Tempests and extend the Thermalance Colossi, very easy for him to get rid of these turrets.
Ooh, counter attack here. Some High Templars in position. ShoWTimE is actually, okay, I don't know if he just swapped in something or started some units, but he was pretty low in supply here for a second. He just had it, oh my god, okay, that's where he used his supply. Lots of Archons, which can be very good for fighting, but against many Ghosts, if they get chain EMP'd, all of them, they actually expire very fast and don't do that much, so will be interesting to follow. I love that ShoWTimE has a prism next to his army, and so far, the way he's been sieging has been great. Just kind of tagging this army and missiles and shooting the Tempest, threatening with the High Templars and Disruptors, and really getting good trades. +2 about to finish with the air army of TY. And ShoWTimE keeps trying to threaten this planetary, but it's just a precarious dance here between ShoWTimE and TY. Neither player trying to overextend too much. And we're seeing, just like you mentioned, Todd, those EMPs and those Archons now have 10 hit points. And can actually die from those armor missiles. Oh my god, the chain missiles here on the Tempest. They take tons of damage, but they're not dead though. So they can still fight from the back line. This Tempest so low, actually. I'm surprised TY is not even thinking about engaging behind this. Look at them, they look sick. They got food poisoning.
That's right. Or a bad liver. We have the Stalkers coming around the outside.
ShoWTimE really wants to seize that PF.
He really
He's
does.
like, you know what, you EMP'd me, you kind of ran out of energy. And look at this, the way he sets up the High Templars and Disruptors to make sure he can really punish the Terran army if he were to engage into him. He's going to recall.
Yeah, we just saw their first person camp from ShoWTimE. Coming to recall, charge lock, warp in, not good enough, but this is actually giving TY breathing space to re-solidify here. He even took the base in the very, very north expansion here next to his planetary, now that ShoWTimE's giving him that room.
I'm surprised TY hadn't saturated that base yet, but I guess there was a massive Protoss army kind of in between.
It's kind of tough.
It and the rest of his army.
Also, the Tempest being caught a little bit here by this drop from TY. They got deflected. He's going to get one of them. Remember, they're low on hit points.
Yeah, some good targets here. Like TY on the first one. And level 2 plasma is going to be on the way. Finally, those feedback lands.
Juicy.
Wow.
Juicy.
ShoWTimE so good with High Templars. For the longest time, we called him the second coming of Hazuops. Guess who the best feedback user was in Europe? It always was Hazuops.
Yeah, I remember that. Now we've got an armor missile going down here. EMP's actually missing a little bit here. That's still plenty of energy on that Templar on the right, and he feedbacks those ghosts.
Yeah, these High Templars juke and jiving forward. ShoWTimE is very good at taking those fights. So far, I feel like he's doing better than TY, but I mean, they're both still maxed out.
This is a very close game.
The bank definitely is ShoWTimE's favor, especially gas-wise. It's pretty scary. Like, if there were to trade and then he just remaxes on charge lots Archons, how are you supposed to deal with it? It would be so hard for TY. But TY is doing a good job of expanding and securing bases, kind of all over the place.
TY is going up into battle cruisers. It's about that time, and TY is one of those guys that will utilize battle cruisers in late game TVP. One of the very few Terrans this high level who does it. And I mean,
it's just him and Athanias, I believe. Right?
Yeah, those two high-level Terrans will make it happen. But you know, the thing is with battle cruisers, they take a lot of damage from Stalkers, and Stalkers are very easy for ShoWTimE to warp in.
Ooh, TY was out of position for just 1 second there, and ShoWTimE will jump on the opportunity to try and kill some of these command centers.
And Tempests are pretty good against battle cruisers as well, but there is a fleet of Vikings, and the armor missiles are landing all over the army of the Protoss here as well. The Ghosts are looking for those EMPs and those High Templar, and they do land.
TY's positioning was beautiful, but the Storm's still such a huge threat. He's forced to pull back consistently. Some more entire are going to be launched.
I think this is an overextension here for ShoWTimE. Can TY break through? Some of his Ravens are very low in energy. Does he have enough? He has to land the Vikings as well. Purification Nova's coming up. There's the armor missile all over the Stalkers. But it just seemed like both players took a trade there, and with TY, with these banks sort of growing up, he's going to be able to replenish his army. He's ahead in army supply for the first time in a while now.
That was so cost-effective for TY here.
Yeah.
What was this fight?
I don't understand.
That felt like Micro Wars level 2,500 over there. Like,
yeah.
Every single unit that can fight was out there. Vikings landed, and TY gets a great trade in that fight. Now forcing ShoWTimE. Look at his bank. He replenishes. He goes, I guess, close to maxing out, which he soon should get. But how is he supposed to remax behind this? Like, if he loses a fight again this way, he's going to be in big trouble. So ShoWTimE, he does what I talked about. A lot of the EMPs were used. Ghost not high on energy. He gets a ton of Archons. And I think ShoWTimE actually means to fight sometime soon here with this. He needs to.
I think he means to fight right now. The Stalkers are coming down here. There's a planetary, though, and that's a very dangerous spot to get in there. One of these battle cruisers is certainly going down. If TY does a tactical jump, but he does just at the end there. The Stalkers and the Archons are very, very good against the composition here of TY. The Bio, though, a bit threatening. The Archons leading the charge, but EMP's blanketing. 4 of them evaporate.
That planetary fortress is just not going down. It's going to keep on getting repaired. Oh my god, so many missiles every single time.
Yeah.
He uses his Ravens so well, by the way, TY. He goes forward just enough to launch the anti-armor missiles and then pulls back just on time. And same with the Ghost. In the previous fight, what made it so good for him is that he went forward, EMP'd, and then pulled back before actually losing his Ghosts. Having them being really exposed. ShoWTimE still going on with the siege.
He certainly is. That's a nice storm, actually. A bunch of that Bio. The Bio is really the threatening thing for these Stalkers. Obviously, the battle cruisers and Vikings and Ravens aren't that much of a threat to the Stalkers at all. TY using this moment of confusion and hard action and find an opening for these Liberators. The Phoenix needs to get to work here, but they're going to get some probe kills.
He really wants that PF. I mean, ShoWTimE wants to do damage there.
Ooh, that's actually quite nice. Got a couple Ghosts there.
60 walkers now for ShoWTimE, 71 for TY, who's still being pretty aggressive across the map. But ShoWTimE again going for broke against that one PF that's getting repaired by so many units. Just not enough damage. It feels like he would need a couple Immortals to really do enough damage to take out that PF.
But he keeps making disruptors with this robotics facility. He is almost on +3 shields though, so these Archons that he keeps making are going to be quite powerful.
Technically, this position is very hard to defend from TY, right? Because if he sends his army forward, he's kind of going to be stuck in between his command centers and all that. But he chooses to go for it. Blink forward by ShoWTimE. A little bit surprised by that.
A patience blink here from ShoWTimE, but he does pull back. Oh no, he's engaging while everything's on the armor cooldown here. Some of the Ghosts getting picked off. He would love to pick up some of these Ravens and Ghosts, and he does actually manage to, and goes into the Storms to pick off some of these Vikings as well. ShoWTimE is starting to drop a little bit in army supply, but he is replenishing 16 Stalkers, Todd, from that Warp Prism.
And he can't afford to max out here anymore. He's struggling with the economy. He hasn't been trading cost effectively. He needs to make something happen right now. He needs to land some huge storms and purification novas to try and finish this game now. Because otherwise, I think ShoWTimE is going to be in big trouble against a TY that just keeps on expanding in the meantime.
It's so tough to engage here. ShoWTimE is finally going to get this planetary by the looks of it. But
at what cost?
Yeah, I mean, he does lose a lot here. Storms going down. Battle cruisers do not care about the weather at all. They are just floating on through it. Some of the Vikings are actually taking a ton of damage, but they are still alive. 13 SCVs went down for TY, but he still has the worker advantage and a base advantage. He has so many command centers all over the map, and ShoWTimE has this choice. It's like, do I engage at a planetary, or a planetary? That's his only option. Like, TY is just sitting on these planetaries, making his giant air army of battle cruisers.
And here's the thing, ShoWTimE earlier finally spent his bank. He had 3,000 gas. He spent all of it. He made a lot of Archons. What's good about this? Well, you got a lot of Archons and you can play aggressive. What's bad about it? You're going to be broke gas-wise for a long time. And right now that's really the case. He keeps on wrapping in Stalkers, but he has to go into a lot of Zealots here eventually as well. Going to be forced back here once again. And he's running out of Storms and Disruptors. Oh my God, this TY is just living his best life right here.
And he's starting to throw in some nukes into the mix as well. ShoWTimE concentrating on the top right here. Doesn't actually kill the planetary. He pulls back before it dies. Does react very quickly, though. Looks like he's only going to lose 8 probe. Not even that. Hitting the gas.
Refuge in the shelter.
Now this Ghost is still alive and more nukes are available. Yamato cannons on these battle cruisers, engaging those Stalkers and taking them down. This nuke's going to land. But, I mean, ShoWTimE's economy is not really the story here. The story is that his army keeps shrinking every time TY engages him.
Yeah, and I think TY might be about to put an end to this game here with his massive army, his perfect Raven-controlled battle cruisers just being so hard to deal with here at this point. I love the tactical jump on the top right. It's like, a charge lot attack like this used to be so scary. Not anymore when you got battle cruisers.
Yeah, it's such a long cooldown that if you do it, you better be sure about it because that battle cruiser is likely going to go down if it doesn't win that fight. There's a big charge lot warp around that planetary. Quick reaction from TY though. He doesn't have some battle cruisers on the defense. ShoWTimE loses a base, but it looks like TY might be able to hold on to the ShoWTimE going for one last hurrah.
I think he realizes that he can't take on TY's army right now, so he's going to go across the map and try to ignite some sort of base trade. He even sacks his gold base.
He's lost one Nexus, he's going to lose a second one as well.
Yeah, he's retaking one on the top right-hand side. I like this better than just taking the fight and accepting that you're going to lose right here and then. Like, obviously, it's not like it's looking good for ShoWTimE or anything. Like, TY on 146 army against 103.
We're seeing the power of Blink here against the Raven composition, which I feel like ShoWTimE hasn't been doing a ton until right this moment.
Oof. That was close.
Oh, shit. TY getting a little bit too far forward, losing a couple of those Vikings.
Oh! Disruptor is going to threaten forward. TY, I'm surprised he's not walking back with everything. I think a lot of his army is still around the bottom left. I guess that gold base is not that important anyway. It was pretty much mined out. ShoWTimE has actually damaged TY's economy quite a bit. Look at
He has, yeah. I mean, TY overextended a little bit with his air army as well. Blink's tried to split, but unfortunately it hit the big cluster of Stalkers there. Does ShoWTimE have a chance here to be able to take out a bunch of these CCs, maybe pick up a battlecruiser or two and get out?
Yes, some item plus kind of coming in right now.
Oh, but a lot of the Vikings are dying. Raven's quite low as well. Bio reinforcing though. This could be the time for TY to pick the fight right now and clean up ShoWTimE. TY is up about 80 army supply.
Yeah, ShoWTimE is out of Disruptors and High Templars there. Great micro by TY once again, who's just marching towards victory with this massive army of his. Those battle cruisers could maybe even just win by themselves, Maynard.
They may. Battle cruisers, when they have full upgrades, are actually insane. I sometimes have a ball of 3-3 Marines underneath them thinking I'll win the fight, and it just doesn't happen. It's insane. And there's this fight here. We got a lot of the Ravens dying to the Stalkers here, but not a lot left on the ground for ShoWTimE. The battle cruisers and the Bio are getting the job done. The battle cruisers tactical jump to safety, and the Bio has an easy time against these Stalkers here of ShoWTimE, who looks like he's going to have to bow out. One last engagement, one last hurrah. GG. And TY gets his 2-0 victory to start things off for him in Group A.
The irony of a Terran unit blinking back to safety against a Protoss.
Everyone's got some pretty cool tools on their utility belt here for each race they play in StarCraft 2. ShoWTimE showed a lot of gumption in Game 2. That was actually quite close for quite a while, but when you go the late game against TY, you better be ready for it because he is a master of that style. And just what we expected pretty much there from that game from TY. Incredible late game, and ShoWTimE does bow out, but he has more chances. Guys, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, more StarCraft. Don't go away.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. We just had our first match of the day, and it was TY that came out victorious. So, first of all, congratulations, TY. You're last year's Katowice champion, and coming back here to Katowice, what is that feeling like for you?
일단 축하드리고요. 작년에 우승자로서 다시 여기 월드팀에 나오는 기분이 좀 묘할 것 같은데 실제로 어떤지 얘기해 주세요.
작년에 우승을 했는데 이번 시즌에는 오픈 브라켓부터 시작을 해서 정말 힘든 여정 속에서도 또 24강에 올라왔는데 저희 조가 가장 잘하는 선수들이 많더라고요. 그래서 굉장히 걱정을 많이 했는데 일단 첫 경기를 좀 잘 풀어가지고 다행인 것 같아요.
So he says, when it comes to this particular event, yes, I am last year's champion, but this event, it was different for me because I had to start all the way from the open bracket, and it was really difficult because of that. And even here in the round of 24, when I saw my group, in my personal opinion, I thought it has the best players of this entire event, so I was worried a little bit, but thankfully, this first game of mine played out so smoothly, and it was a 2-0, so I'm really happy about that. And in terms of the series against ShoWTimE, I want to touch on that second game because overall, it looked very strong for you, but ShoWTimE was able to stay in the game with constant harass, and because of that, it took him a while to GG out. So because of that, were you worried at all that potentially he could come back?
그 두 번째 경기에 대해서 물어보고 싶은데 전태현 선수 상황이 너무 좋았어요. 근데 이제 쇼타임 선수가 이제 계속 견제를 하면서 나 혹시 질 수도 있겠다라는 걱정하셨나요? 아니면 항상 자신이 있었나요?
일단 처음부터 굉장히 좋았던 상황인 건 맞는데 쇼타임 선수가 게임을 길게 끌고 갈수록 굉장히 잘하는 점점 강해지는 선수라는 거를 제가 알고 있어가지고 처음부터 끝까지 한 번도 방심을 하지 않았는데 그래도 굉장히 힘들더라고요. 그걸 보고 아 역시 정말 잘하는 선수구나라는 생각이 많이 들었어요.
So he says with ShoWTimE, first of all, I knew that he has a reputation where the longer he takes it into the late game that he's really good. So despite the fact that I felt like I was in a really good position, I decided not to lose focus. I tried to concentrate really, really hard, but even as I played, I could definitely feel that he is a very, very strong player. So I want to give credit to him for that. My last question to you, TY, up next you're going to be facing Deer. Deer is someone you faced in the qualifier, and 2 times, and both times he was able to take you down. So because of that, does that affect your mentality headed into this match?
이제 다음 상대는 이제 백동준 선수를 만날 건데 예선에서 2번이나 만나서 2번 다 졌어요. 그래서 그것 때문에 약간 자신감이 영향이 있는지요?
백동준 선수가 워낙 까다롭게 많이 잘하는 스타일이어가지고 굉장히 제가 많이 졌는데 그래도 제가 대회에서는 좀 더 강한 모습을 많이 보여주는 그런 상태여서 저도 집중하고 최선을 많이 연습했으니까 그래도 이번만큼은 50대 50이라고 생각을 합니다.
So he says when it comes to Deer, I definitely think that he's a very difficult player to go up against. It's been challenging for me, and so I think that's why I lost. But that being said, I think that I'm the player that's been better on LAN in history, and I think I've had better results overall when it comes to these live events. And so because of that, I'm going to try my absolute hardest, and I think actually when it comes to percentage, coming into this next match against him, it's a 50-50 chance. So we'll see what happens. Congratulations again, TY. Best of luck in your next match. It's time to head back to Colares.
That's right, good start here for our world champion. And I'm joined at the desk here once again by Artos and Rotterdam. Gents, looking at how TY was able to play out, especially that late game there. That was very, very fierce by him to start the day off.
I think he's just such a good late game player, as you can see. Yes, ShoWTimE's very good. He knows how to play. I like how he kind of mixed it up with the gateway units and tried to use a different comp. But when you get TY into a position where you're not killing him quickly with some sort of timing where he's not ready, I don't think anyone takes him down.
Right.
Yeah, I love the approach of the entire best of 3 for TY. Game number 1, Blackpink, obviously a smaller map. He realizes that if ShoWTimE goes up to 3 bases way before him and he doesn't apply any pressure, that it could potentially become a very difficult game. So that first fight near the Nexus was already so good because he forced out all those units, and then obviously there was the tag was just too late for ShoWTimE, right? I think he started charge when there were like 140 supply into the game. That's very odd. Normally that's a lot sooner. And in game 2, TY is like, all right, Neon Violet Square, I've got a pocket base, all right, quick 3cc, and he just he played it very smart. And I think this ultimate Terran army that you saw for a long time, with the Vikings, with the Ravens, with the Ghosts, eventually battle cruisers, and all those liberators with advanced ballistics as well, using the Neon Violet Squares in the middle of the map to basically protect his planetaries. That's just a really good way to play that map, and obviously the execution was pretty insane too.
Yeah, I mean, you got to weigh up risks and rewards, I suppose, in StarCraft 2. There's a moment where ShoWTimE's entire army is posturing outside that planetary fortress, trying to do the damage, and it's getting as much damage as one Liberator over the other side of the map. So it's not
that is true.
Yeah.
When you're trying to break a fortified position like that, it's not going to happen, not with Archon Stalker.
Yeah, there was this one moment there, right, where obviously they had this big exchange, and then ShoWTimE is like, all right, I'm remaxing on 10 Archons, and I'm sure that a lot of people at home were like, what the hell, why is he getting all these Archons? But I guess since there was a lot of supply caught up in Vikings, a bunch of it in Ravens as well, that just used most of the energy, I could see where ShoWTimE was going with it, hoping that the Ghosts wouldn't be there or not have that many EMPs, and that you can just bulldoze your way in, because there's not enough on the ground. But TY wouldn't be TY if he did land some really good EMPs, repair the planetary, and I think after that point it was always going to be really tough, because that was over 3,000 gas he invested in a bunch of Archons, and he still didn't get the kill at first.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much, gents. We can check in with the group so far, of course, here, as Group A results are coming in. So far we have 2 0s for TY, Dia, and Maru, as they were able to take their first series. And then our next series coming up is going to be Gumiho versus Special here on the main stage. Then we'll have Dia versus TY and ShoWTimE versus Maru. So the funny thing is I keep saying all of these fixtures, but there's actually no fixture that disappoints. I keep saying all these names and the matches that are about to come. I'm like, actually, they're all really good matches. So
well,
it's fantastic.
I mean, we're in the top 24 of like the biggest event of the year. So yeah, everyone's pretty good at StarCraft. These guys I think they all play every day.
There you go. There you go. Thank you very much, guys. We're going to go to a short break here at the Intel Extreme Masters, and when we return, more StarCraft action. Don't go anywhere.